Today we're talking about the 5 signs that you as an INFJ are burned out and not lazy. As INFJs, we very often think that we just don't have what it takes to create an INFJ epic life. Others might be able to create amazing results, but we're too lazy, we're too slow, we're like sloths. And that's just who we are, and we have to accept it. And the truth is that in many cases, this is not right. Like if you've ever watched one of my first videos, you will see the difference in energy now and then. And so this is the perfect example of somebody who's actually 10 years older and has 1,000 times more energy because I understood that I wasn't lazy. I was just completely burned out. And the beginning of this channel, I was starting to fight myself out of this burnout. So let's talk about the 5 signs that you know you're not lazy, you're just burned out, and how to really change that trajectory and get to this positive momentum that makes you feel more and more alive every single day. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the formula to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next level, get the INFJ epic life audio guide. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. Sign number 1 that you're burned out as an INFJ and not just lazy is the fact that you feel shame and guilt around it. People who are lazy don't care. They never question themselves. They never feel like, oh, I should be able to do so much more. If this is all you can do, you're not going to feel lazy. I might think you're lazy, or somebody else might think that you're lazy, but you're not going to feel that. See, I'm sure there's so many people out there who would look at my life and say, oh, she's so lazy. But I know that I'm doing everything I can with the energy that I do have. And so there's never this thing of, oh, you're objectively lazy or not. Your lazy is always somebody's super productive state. And so the thing we have to look at is, how do you feel? If you feel like, oh, I'm doing all that I can and I'm happy and it's like this exciting moment, then you're probably not going to feel lazy. But if you feel like you're lazy, then it's because there's this urge. I want to grow. I want to experience life more. I know there's more out there, but I just don't have it in me right now. So this is a super evident sign that you're burnt out because you just don't have the energy to get out of the situation that you're in. But don't worry, it doesn't have to stay this way. A sign number 2 that you're burned out is that you give more in relationships than you're getting back. We have to accept this once and for all. Every single relationship where we're giving 70 and we're getting 30 back, that kind of dynamic is going to drain us. We're going to be burned out. We think that's who we are, that we just want to give, and if I can't give, then I'm not going to be myself. And to that I say, you're right. You're totally right. We want to give. But what we have to remember is that we have to give of our cup that is overflowing. Because every single time you give something from like this lower level of, we're in a friendship and I'm giving so much to you, but I'm just getting a little bit back because you are actually being a mentor and a help to somebody else, but they have no idea that you are because, you're pretending that you're equals and you don't want that person to feel bad. That's a typical relationship of, 70-30, for example. So if you're helping somebody and they have no idea that you're helping them, they're not appreciative of it. They're not treating you like a mentor, but they're treating you like your equals, or very often, and I've seen this, lately specifically, INFJs have told me this, like I tried to help them. Like obviously I knew more than them. I was able to give them power and energy and like direction, and they actually took it on. And not only that, they, pretended like they were better than me. So this is something INFJs experience very often, and that's a very evident sign that we're burned out. We cannot give more than we're getting back. So if you're giving, then it has to be from a level of, I'm already all that I am. I'm not making myself small. I want to be respected in this way. I want it to be obvious that if I'm helping you, then you are aware that I'm helping you, you want my help, and you're appreciative of it. And if you can't do that because that would trigger you, admitting that you need help in this regard and you actually want to be a friend of mine, then I'm the one who has to pull back in that relationship. Because if they can give you 30 and you're giving 70, understand that I'm the one who actually has to lower what I can give. If all they can give is 30%, then I'm going to give 30% back. Of course, that's 50-50, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm the one who has to pull away from how much I'm giving into this relationship and actually put that energy into me being myself and doing things that will energize me. And once you do that, once you start this process, you'll still have the ability to help others. But then it's like not from a space of, oh, I'm losing something in order to help you. INFJs do this so often, and I'm guilty of this 1000%. Thankfully, I'm not doing this to such an extent anymore, but I still catch myself from time to time. This thing of, oh, I'm keeping my head above water. Like I'm giving everything just so I can maintain, right? That's when I feel like I deserve any kind of like recognition, love or whatever it may be. The higher stakes the relationships are, the more you're going to fall into this. That's why I'm always saying like have healthy outlets for how you're helping so you don't fall into those traps. So one of the situations where it's really easy for me to fall into this pattern is of course with my kids, because I tend to overgive and not really protect myself enough, which is a really easy trap to fall into because like in what situation can you overgive then if not in this situation? But this is a great indication of the closer somebody is to you, the more likely you're going to get into those situations. So that's why you have to first make sure that the people you let close to you psychologically know who you are and they are okay with you being all that you are. That's number one thing, because if that's not the case, then they will drain you and you have to demand this. I am going to be all that I am. And if that triggers you, then you can't be this close to me psychologically. And second of all, we have to have an outlet that allows us to give while we're being all that we can be. So we're not falling into this trap of I'm giving more than I'm getting back, because that's why we're burned out. Sign number 3 that the INFJ is burned out and not lazy is that the INFJ withdraws from reality too much. So this is of course a defense mechanism, because of course we can be in our head. Like amazing things happen in there. We need that time to process and there's nothing wrong with that. But we do go overboard and we also don't get the connection that we actually desperately need, because yes, I don't need hundreds of friends, but we're still human and we need interactions. We need win-win interactions, because that energizes if we can give the world who we are, and through that we get energy back. That's how you actually gather more and more energy without taking anything away from somebody. You're not manipulating the situation. It just feels like, you're becoming more and more abundant by just being yourself. But when we withdraw from reality too much, then it's because we feel like if I go out into the reality and somebody wants something from me, I will give it to them. And so I just want to make myself uninteresting, because the moment a person wants something from me, whatever it may be, my sympathy, they're suffering, so I feel like I have to do something about it, whatever it may be, I will have to get active, because otherwise I would be a bad person. And this is one of the reasons why we withdraw, is because, we feel like if I withdraw, then people are going to leave me alone. They're not going to want stuff from me. But what we have to learn is that just because people want something from us, it doesn't mean that we have to give it to them, because this is low-level need mating. This is not what's going to elevate everybody, including ourselves and the other person. What is going to actually help us is to understand I need a lot of alone time and I need you to protect my boundaries. I know you would want something from me because I could give it to you, but right now I just have to make sure that I'm okay. I have to fill up my tank first. And then when I feel like I have something to give, I will give freely. I will not ask for a thank you, but I have to first make sure that I'm good. And so if you're withdrawing from reality because you want to avoid people wanting something from you, because then you feel like you have no other choice but to give it to them, then it's really a matter of let's work on those boundaries. Let's understand that I don't have to meet every person's need right away in order to be a good person. I first have to make sure I'm good. And that means saying no, although people want something from you. By the way, that doesn't mean that you have to explain to them why you're doing this. It might be that just people want your energy and you're just not available for that, right? You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify it. It's just who you are. You need a lot of space for yourself in order to fill up your tank, because then you can give out of your energy cup that is overflowing, because that's the best way you can add value to others while also adding value to yourself. Sign number 4 that the INFJ is burned out and not just lazy is when you feel others' pain, but you're never aware of your own pain. This is not normal, not even for INFJs. And when I say this is not normal, I mean this is not how it's meant to be. Most of us feel this way. We feel when others are suffering, but we have no idea that we suffer ourselves because we focus on others. We allow their energy to come into our space. We have to fill up our space. We have to get in touch with our own feelings. So many of us don't even know what we're feeling. So many of us don't know what it feels to be all that we can be because we haven't practiced it. And when you are not doing this, you will feel others' pain very immensely because you've shut down all the pain that you would be feeling. That's all projection onto, I have to process my own pain that I'm not allowing to see. It's all subconscious. So I'm going to focus on that person's pain. And through that, I feel like I'm working through something. So if you have this is one more sign. You have to focus on yourself. You have to look at your own trauma. And I'm not even talking about like doing mindset work and all of that. We're doing this anyway. I'm talking about really expressing yourself, being all that you are, and practicing understanding what your preferences are. Like really practicing, oh, what movie do I want to watch? And normally maybe I would think, I don't care, whatever you want. So now it's on us to say, what if I had to make a choice? What would I choose? And to stand up for that. When you have those low risk situations, like what kind of movie do you want to watch? Or where should we go eat? Like use that as practice to really look into what would I want, and let me try to stick up for what I want, and to say, if everybody agrees that we're going somewhere else, great, but I'm not going to deny my opinion in order to go somewhere where the other person wants to go to, right? If there are 3 people and you feel like, oh, they might want to go somewhere else, well, allow them to think like they want to go somewhere else, but you don't have to be the one who says, oh, I don't care, you decide. Say, I want to go to this restaurant. And if both of them want to go to the other restaurant, that's great. You can make a compromise, but don't deny your own opinion. And the more you practice this with like those low stakes situations, the more you're going to make choices like this when it comes to real important decisions in your life as well. And when you start doing this, you're actually going towards energy. You're creating more and more win-win situations for yourself. You're becoming more and more abundant, and you really gather energy. And with that energy, guess what? You're going to do good as well. You're just going to do it at like a higher level, and it's not going to be so much enabling. It's not going to be so much codependency. It's not going to be that you are a crutch to somebody else, and you're not going to feel lazy. Because then you know, oh, I'm actually tapping into my potential. I don't feel anymore that there's so much I could do and that I could be, but I just don't have the energy for it. So I must be lazy. That's just not a healthy way to look at it. If you understand that, if you feel that there's potential in you, if you feel like there's so much more that you could experience and you could do and you could see and be, then it's because we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to grow energetically. And all the points we're talking about today are going to help us in choosing to be more of who we are and gathering that energy. And the 5th sign that an INFJ is burned out and not lazy is if we're waiting for other people to see our worth based on what we're doing for them, based on how much energy we can actually give to others and how small we can make ourselves, because that's what it actually is. If we're waiting for people to see our worth, it says, I'm giving so much of who I am to you. Please validate me. Please let me feel that I'm a good person. It's a very human thing. Again, I've done this so many times. The biggest pain points in my life have been through that. And there was not one moment where I felt like I was weak. It was actually something that I thought was coming from kindness. I need to help them. I need to help them. But the point was saying, I'm allowing you to treat me bad. I'm allowing you to work through your stuff and do everything that you do to project onto me, make me feel bad, and all of that, because I want you to say I'm worth it, and then I'm allowed to be myself. So it feels like I'm hiding this inner part of me. And, once they give me permission, I can be more of that. And so we go through life like this. And so we have to understand this is not how life is supposed to be for us INFJs. We just don't know it any different. But if you're waiting for others, it's saying the way I am is not okay. And so you're keeping yourself small. And every single time you keep yourself small, you're going to feel like without energy. You're going to feel lazy, whatever you might tell yourself. And the best way to change that entire process is to say, what if I believed that I was worth it? And let's talk about this because it's so much easier said than done. Like people say, oh, just believe in your worth. Just know that you're worth it. Well, what does this mean as like cognitively? What am I supposed to do? Like I understand the concept. I can rationalize it. So think of it like this. What if the aspects that I'm trying to hide from everybody because I think they're weird and they're like unlovable and whatever it may be, I show more of that. And I demand for people to accept that. One of the best ways to start this process is to focus on making your life better, using your NI to create a future for yourself. And to say, like, I'm going to make the most out of what I can do by myself, and through that, I will help others as well. But I'm not going to make myself small, not to trigger other people. Once you start this process, you automatically are going to, of course, face so many fears that are within you, of abandonment, of judgment, of rejection. But then you're free for the first time, maybe ever. And that's how it felt like for me. I was really in this narcissistic kind of dynamic that forced me to say, I cannot pretend like I'm okay with this. Like, I know nobody's going to love me. That's how it really felt. Nobody's going to love me, but that's just who I am. And then start taking action in making this bigger. So one of the ways to do this is through the steps we're talking about in the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. You can get the free poster on the formula to an INFJ Epic Life to understand how to, start that process of building yourself up, or get the audio guide directly. You have the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I wish you a great day no matter where you are in the world, and I see you in the next one. Bye, guys.